What I'm going to do is let all the panelists introduce themselves, and then we'll tell them about, how their company helps their customers with IoT convergence. So I'll start with Travis.
All right, I'm Travis Cox. I'm the co-director of sales engineering for Inductive Automation. We are the software company, produces Ignition. It's an industrial applications platform to create HMI, SCADA, MES applications. From the very beginning, we have always been IT standards-based and database-centric. Using technologies that IT can understand, we like to bring them into the conversations. We can connect to a lot of different sources of data, whether it's PLCs or OPC servers and MQTT or SQL databases, web services. It allows all these disparate systems to come together, and we can provide that information to whoever wants to look at it. With a licensing model that's unlimited, gets that information to more people, allows them to take advantage of that data.
Okay, Penny.
Okay. I'm Penny Chen. I'm the Senior Principal Technology Strategist in Yokogawa. So how does Yokogawa do between IT and OTs? Actually, Yokogawa has a corporate slogan called co-innovation. One of the key differences, the co-innovation is with the customer and with partners. Customer, obviously, we are in the OT space, but the partners, most of our partners was in the IT space. One of the very simple example we made today is you see we have Cell2 certified wireless systems that is for industrial applications. This is one of the key things we did. Actually, when we look at, you look at the IoT, many companies come out from monitoring first, then go into more critical applications. But the Yokogawa really take a much longer view of what wireless truly can do. That's why when we started, we look at the wireless technology in the marketplace and looking for the one that should be control ready and safety ready. This is a very different road. Take us a much longer journey to come out the product, but the product right now used for safety, but also used for control in the marketplace. It is technology changes all the time. We have new technology used for other wireless applications. So this is the journey what we are looking for. Not just a short view of couple years on how we can generate the revenue right away, but truly come out from customer point of view, how we can design a network with the longer journey for the customers. Okay. Thanks.
Good morning. My name is Larry Tabor. I'm the Vice President of Strategy for Quartic.ai. What we do is deliver smart industries. Fundamentally, that's it. That's how simple the message is. We do that by providing to the end user the power of AI. And we have to, of course, do that through the convergence of, as Blair rightly said, edge, IT, OT, AT, and a number of other technologies have to be converged in order for us to be able to capitalize on the power of AI. That's fundamentally what we're about.
All right. Hi there. I'm Matthew Wells. I'm Vice President of Digital Product Management with G Digital. We basically create solutions and outcomes for our customers across the industrial IoT space. We have solutions in both OT and IT. We have HMI, SCADA, MES, asset performance, operations performance management solutions, as well as solutions within the power monitoring and management space. And so, yeah, we really focus on how to get data out of the equipment and how to leverage it and build new analytics, a new generation of analytics and insights upon that data.
Okay, great. Does anybody in the audience have any questions? If you do, raise your hand. If not, we probably have a question or two up here that we'll ask the panelists and speakers. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the question is for Petronas.
Petronas, yep.
So moving forward with your safety aspects for new builds, is there any wider wireless or IoT strategy getting implemented based on some of the results you are getting from your side?
We have a 5-stage of roadmap that we have to implement. So there'll be next year another installation of gas detectors. At the same time, we require to install the toxic gas detectors. So we are looking for that technology to be matured the toxic one, H2S detectors. And yeah, that is the way forward. There's a lot of things to be done. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Oh, go ahead.
A question for Blair, and maybe it'll apply to when you're on phone as well. So where you talk about the batch quality prediction that you're able to do so that you get results before quality control the lab.
Correct, yeah.
I'm curious whether that allows you to also change anything in the fermentation process over those 3 days to improve quality as an example.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So there's two things. There's the performance index, which is the real time before any deviations happen to make those changes. And we see it, we intervene on the process every single batch based on this. We have not, since implementing this, that we have not done something in the process because of this result, right? That's going to change the quality output. Now, the batch quality prediction is really after it's done and we can't do anything about it. And that's just preparing the downstream, but absolutely. And there's certain things that we cannot control, raw ingredients and things like that, that can influence the batch quality that we can't change while it's in process, obviously. But the real result is that there is not a batch that happens that we're not intervening in some way to get us a higher yield result.
Okay. Any other questions?
Okay, so it's interesting that WannaCry, responds in 3 minutes. That's pretty impressive. What did you lose besides this? You mentioned that you lost the ability to compare your factories, right? Did you lose other stuff? I mean, one of the things we're dealing with is getting fast response, but then also we got ERP and it's sending production. I mean, there's all this other traffic. Did you cut it completely, or did you maintain some of those, or did you just lose stuff and you had to go to some business continuity kind of plan?
Yeah, great question, and we can get into detail if it's after this. What we did is each one of our factories is 100% redundant on compute. We have 2 data centers physically located in different places, each running at 50%, so we're not even flipping over between them. We have to be that fast. We cannot shut down a factory. If you shut down one of our factories, it's incredibly expensive. It'd be the cover of Wall Street Journal. It'd be really bad. So what we did is we have the ability to keep all of our internal systems running, but we disassociated all of our factories from anything to connect to the outside internet. So we kept all of our internal stuff running, but I can run my whole ERP at each factory. So I have an instance at each factory, and I can run each of them, and each one will have their own MES. So I can't combine them over that period of time. My querying would have been less effective, my engineers. One thing that we learned as Intel, we will not query our production system. Our engineers can't touch that. What we do is we move our data to another database, and it's about 6 minutes to move it over. That's where all our queries hit, because we don't want to touch production.
Okay. Any other questions? I'm going to have a question for all our panelists, is that as you've been selling IT and OT convergence solutions to your customers, what kind of culture changes have you seen amongst your customers just as a result of those? I guess I'll start with Travis and work my way down.
Yeah, I mean, clearly as the speakers were talking, and you definitely come in, we talk about IT, OT convergence, and really we got a lot of it's, they think about it driven from the top down, from the IT down, and that scares operations, as these guys have all been mentioning. When we think about it from OT, IT convergence, it's really about really understanding the requirements and the needs of both sides of the fence and having really good, clear communication between the two. So what we are seeing, at least, is more of that communication happening. And it really takes tools that both sides can understand. It takes newer technologies that is able to leverage the skill sets on both of those sides. So we're seeing that, we're starting to see it come together, but it's still a journey. There's still a lot of risk between the two.
Okay, Penny?
Sure. Very much agree. Not much to add. Actually, we do see that happening. Many times in our world, we think about that is IT merge with OT. Actually, OT try to use as many of the top IT technologies to use, but also IT is trying to learning from the OT. One time we have a standard meeting was in the edge computing. Then I said, well, you just look at the concept point of view. Edge computing concept is a very much distributed control system, isn't it? It is DCS, the concept. However, the edge computing right now do much better use new technology, new standard, much more open for the future. So those two is always working together. It's about the communication, how we can understand each other.
Okay.
Yeah, at Quartic, one of the things we've done is we've brought together within a single platform the ability to do the IoT convergence, but also lay side by side with that data and the streaming of that data, the machine learning and modeling tools and techniques. And what we're seeing is that as folks are starting to get comfortable with the concepts of machine learning and AI and having those dialogues directly with a cross-functional team, and seeing their data and seeing the manipulation of the information all at the same time in a single place, we're creating that environment for a more sustainable change and convergence in IoT.
Okay.
So on the, culturally, I think it's really interesting because, we experience it both from a GE perspective as well as what we see our customers doing. And I think, there's three sort of unique examples I can give. The first is that we created the concept of a chief digital officer, and we put that into all our business units. And I think we were one of the first companies to do that. And it was really done to drive the organizations to how to leverage IoT and how to leverage the data and to do things differently. And I've seen a lot of other organizations start to do that. I think the second thing is that it really, more from a grassroots level, people get excited about it because they start to think in different ways about how they can solve their problems. So as we've rolled these solutions out and you've started to enable a broader workforce to get access to this data, the wheels start turning and they start thinking, well, maybe I could try this. Whereas before, I think a lot of the times they wouldn't have tried because there were too many barriers for them to get started. And then I think the last thing I'll say is what I find really interesting is that a lot of our customers are starting their own digital practices, even from a commercial standpoint, whereas as they start to build out this, capabilities and opportunity, they see an opportunity to, again, go to their customers even further and offer digital solutions. So I think that is another interesting aspect.
And the last question that we have, so we can let everybody go and catch their flights, is if you could sum up what you want the audience to walk away from, just in a couple of words, and we'll start with Hugh and work our way down wherever the mic might be. And
So,
just a couple of words, and we'll let all 8 of you.
you need to get the executive management and the head of IT on board in order to have convergence or mergence of IT and OT.
Okay.
Mine, is similar to my presentation, is start with the end in mind. Because when you start with the end in mind, there's no way you can do it without IT-OT convergence.
What we found is to do any IoT projects at Intel, we have to have at least 3 skill sets. One is a process engineer who understands the process. One's a data scientist who understands how to do the big math. And the third's an IT person who needs to move the stuff around. One of the things we found most valuable is taking our process engineers and putting them back to school to get a data science degree, and we have a lot of incentives to do that, where we can take 2 of those and accomplish. But we will not staff a project without those 3 skill sets because we had to have them, so we put all 3 of those skill sets in the same business unit, and I think you had it right. It's about leadership. It's about executive leadership saying this is a strategy. I've been in a room the first time we were trying to connect this with a client, and it's a major brand, you all know them, you probably have their stuff, and OT and IT were on the other side of the tables yelling at each other standing on chairs. And we had to get them together. I mean, but when you get them together, the reason they don't like each other is they do the same thing, but just a little differently. And when you put them on the same team, they can accomplish a lot more faster.
I think there's a preconceived notion that the IT people think they know more than the OT people, when there's an awful lot that both parties can learn from each other if they're willing to accept change and be open to conversations.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, keep pushing innovation to leverage IT, OT convergence for the company transformation.
Okay. Travis?
Yeah, I mean, for us, communication between the two and having leadership on both sides that are on board.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, IT is the tool. OT is the goal. Think about the business strategies. This is the journey we will have to go through.
At Quartic, we'd suggest you get started now. You're closer than you think. You don't have to do a moonshot, and you can do some pretty sophisticated things with the data that you have.
Define the outcome, start small, but plan big.
Excellent.
Do I win for fewest words?
Yeah, yeah, you have the fewest words. Well, let's thank our panelists and speakers very much for a great job. Thank you so much for coming to the forum. Wish you all safe travels home, and want to see you the first week of February 2020 here again next year. Thanks very much. Have a great day.